my self-care was
Mhm.
lacking because I was so busy caring for everyone
Somebody
else.
else. Oh my gosh.
So
Yes.
this brought a little bit more harmony and balance to my life where I can make space to really care for Amber as
Yes.
I'm caring for my clients. And the more I learn to care for myself, the more I can really give to my clients.
Welcome back to another episode of the Charyse Williams Show. Oh my goodness, I'm so excited to have this beautiful guest with us today, Amber Thomas. Hey, Amber.
Hey, Charyse, thanks so much for having me on the show. I'm so delighted to be here.
I am super excited that you're here as well. You know, July is Fibroid Awareness Month, and we know that fibroids affect women in the African American community or African American women disproportionately. So today we're going to talk a little bit about fibroids, how it affects our health, why it even shows up, some of the things that that we can do in terms of either management or minimizing. Of course, diet and lifestyle is always a key factor, but let's shed some light on fibroids. How about that? How's that sound?
Absolutely. You're absolutely right. It does affect women of color disproportionately. And some of that is genetic factors, of course, and environmental factors, diet and lifestyle, as you mentioned. But most importantly, when fibroids develop, the underlying cause it has to do with estrogen. So, of course, as women, estrogen is a hormone that we are constantly producing and is responsible for a lot of our bodily functions. And so there's a term that most of us are familiar with now called estrogen dominance. And so estrogen dominant women seem to have elevated estrogen levels, and that is a major contribution to the development of fibroids. So fibroids are just benign tumors. They're not cancerous, but they tend to develop on the uterus. So they're known as uterine fibroids.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes they can impact fertility as well as just overall daily comfort. So with this being Fertility Awareness Month, I'd like to shed some light on some of the symptoms of fibroids to watch out for, things to be aware of. Some of them are very subtle and some of them are not so subtle. So these are things that you want to watch out for in case you need to make a trip to the doctor and just make sure that your health, well-being, your uterus, everything is in good status. So first, we're most familiar with our cycles, our monthly cycles, and most of us are very familiar with when that comes and what the symptoms are and what that looks like. And so if you notice any changes in your menstrual cycle, heavy menstrual bleeding or painful periods is one of the number one symptoms of uterine fibroids. It just impacts the blood flow. It impacts your hormone levels. It just changes your whole menstrual cycle. And then you find that your menstrual cycle may be longer, more frequent periods, maybe irregular. Along with that, you may feel more pelvic pressure or pain with your cycles, frequent urination, trouble urinating, especially if it's a larger fibroid that may be embedded on other areas, other organs, your bladder. Your uterus is very close to your bladder, so it can affect urination. And then sometimes if it's big enough, you can actually see it protruding on the outside, like a distended area in your abdomen could indicate that there's a fibroid present. Constipation can also be an indication that there's a fibroid present. And then, of course, pain in the stomach area, low back, and some women complain of pain during intercourse.
Yeah.
So those are some pretty common symptoms that women might experience with fibroids.
Yeah. And, thank you for saying all of that, because I can almost guarantee that someone listening has some of those symptoms and maybe they haven't gotten it looked into. Maybe they just kind of chalked it up to who knows what. And so that's, that I love that we're having this conversation. And you guys, what I didn't mention to you about Amber, let me tell you a little bit of something about Amber Thomas. She is not only a nurse, of course, but she is the owner and the founder of Mother Eve's Childbearing Support Services, which is in the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex area, which is kind of north North Texas. As I mentioned, Amber is a registered nurse, and her specialty is holistic women's reproductive health with a focus on childbirth education, doula support, and lactation care to childbearing families. So this isn't just anyone talking to you about fibroids and fibroid awareness and how it affects infertility, which we're going to get into in just a second. But this is, again, a thought leader in this particular, in the women's health space. So again, thank you for sharing all of that. Now, let's talk about how fibroids play a part in infertility, right? So
absolutely. With fibroids, it's mainly related to the size. Sometimes it can be really small, it can be 1 centimeter, or sometimes it can be the size of a grapefruit. And so it can actually interfere with the fertility process, the fertilization process. And then also as the baby is growing, it can interfere with the baby's growth as it's also taking nutrients from the uterus as well. And then it can impact the delivery process as well. So like a lot of women with fibroids may have to deliver by C-section because there's a blockage in the vaginal canal. Many women need to have the fibroids removed before they can get pregnant, even before they can stay pregnant. So mostly it's just a blockage that interferes with the whole fertility process.
Yeah. And again, I know the majority of the clients that you work with, you help them. And this is what I love about what you do, Amber, is that you help them or you support them on the front end in terms of helping them prepare their body to have a viable pregnancy and to have a healthy pregnancy, a term pregnancy. You help them on the front end, right?
Yes.
Help support them as they are carrying their baby, and then even postpartum, but the whole lactation piece of it. And so share with us, like, how did you go from, and you were a L&D nurse, right? Labor and delivery nurse?
Right.
Yeah. So tell us a little bit about that, because I know everyone always loves to know like the journey, like how did she go from being a bedside nurse to being an entrepreneur, having her own business and CEO of her business. So take us on that journey.
Actually, it's kind of funny because I actually started off as a doula. I was a doula before I became a nurse. So I knew I always wanted to work with pregnant families. I knew I wanted to really help deliver babies. So my original goal was to be an OBGYN.
I knew that,
because that's all I knew. I knew that that's how you help deliver babies, was to be a doctor and be an OBGYN. So I went to school. I went to TWU and majored in biology pre-med and was planning on being an OBGYN. But while I was at TWU, we took a field trip in one of my women's studies classes to a birthing center that was nearby the school. And the birthing center had midwives and doulas, and it was just a house with a tub, and you just go in and have a baby. And I just thought, wow, this is so cool. And I've always been natural minded. I was partially raised by my grandmother, and they give you these herbs and tinctures and remedies. And so I grew up like that. So I grew up not really using medicine as like the first, option, always kind of the last resort for me. So when I saw the birthing center and the natural environment, how women were just free and they were walking around and they were eating and they were drinking, they were walking outside at the park, and then they would just go in and have their babies either in the tub or the bed. And then 3 hours later, they go home.
Yeah.
And so I saw
totally different from what we're used to seeing in traditional healthcare, right?
Yes, because before that, I had interned at Parkland Hospital, which is our county hospital in Dallas, where I would see like 200 births a week. And it was very, very medical, very high paced, fast paced. Yeah. So completely different than what I saw at the birth center. So when I saw that, I just fell in love, and I was like, I got to do this. I want to do this. How do I do this? So I harassed the midwives there about becoming a midwife, even though I was studying to biology pre-med. So from there, I started helping as a birth assistant to the midwife. So a birth assistant really helps the midwife with her job. So maybe handing over tools and supplies and cleaning and getting the patient situated, almost like a nurse to the doctor, right?
Got it. Uh-huh.
So I trained with my midwife as a birth assistant. And also, I had a doula for my birth, and I ended up birthing at that same birth center.
Oh, how cool.
And I had a doula, and I asked my doula, how do I become a doula? And so I trained with her, and so did all this birth assisting doula work, Lamaze classes. I was even a lactation consultant before I went to nursing school. So most of my training started at a birthing center, which is actually where I am now, at a birthing center. And then my midwife encouraged me, instead of being an OBGYN, to consider nurse midwifery, which would require me to go to nursing school, work labor and delivery for a few years, and then certify as a midwife. So that was my plan. So I did work labor and delivery for about 3 years, and continued to do doula work and birth assisting and lactation all along. But I fell so in love with all of that I just decided to stay working as a nurse and a lactation consultant and helping families in a more private and intimate setting.
Yeah. And for you, and I love that. Thank you for taking us on that journey. Because, and wait, well, actually, before I even ask you the question I was going to ask you, I would love to know, and I'm sure the listeners are going to want to know as well, when did you decide, or how, or why did you even decide to transition into having your own business?
That's a good question. To be honest, I've always been business minded as well. As a child. I had a candy. My house was like the candy house. I sold candy. I did mani-pedis for my aunts and my cousins and my friends. I always had some kind of hustle going.
Yeah, so little Miss Entrepreneur, huh?
Yeah. And my mom was like, "Oh, you're so bossy. You never gonna have any friends." And so I did run some of my friends off because I was a little bossy.
Well, listen,
I think it just came natural.
I love it.
Also, to really answer that question, like as an adult, I was really morally conflicted with healthcare and women's reproductive health. So even with working in the birthing center, thankfully I got that experience first.
Right.
But once I got to the hospital and the doctor's offices, I was really discouraged about the way healthcare, medical care in the healthcare system was being done versus what I had been exposed to holistically with the midwives. And so whenever I tried to get a job as a nursing job or any job in the medical field, I often felt morally conflicted. Like this is not the way. Women were being rushed in their labors, lots of interventions throughout the labor process. It just wasn't a natural experience that had the women's best interest in mind. And that is what I wanted. I wanted to be able to deliver holistic care that contributed to positive outcomes, especially for women of color, being that there is a very high rate of maternal and infant mortality among women of color. I believe some of the practices at the hospital sometimes can contribute to that. And so I wanted to deliver care in a way that made women feel comfortable, made them feel a part of their experience, a part of the health team, to give them some advocacy and some control over their experiences. So that's
I love that
education piece of what I do.
Yeah, I love that. And thank God for you and women like you, because you're so right. You know, something that is so natural and so sacred and such a beautiful experience that birthing is. In our traditional healthcare system, it is so systematized and sterilized, and it takes all the I feel a lot of the humanity and beauty and sacredness out of the birthing experience.
Absolutely. And that's that is what I believe was missing.
Yeah.
The birth experience is a very impactful experience. It's a very spiritual experience. It's an
Yes.
emotional experience. It's an experience that a woman will remember for the
Yeah.
rest of her life. I've spoken with
And the
women
child
in
too.
their, yes.
Yeah.
And it impacts the child
Absolutely.
emotionally.
Yes, that's exactly what I
In
mean.
utero and even once they're born. But
Yeah.
I've spoken to women in their 70s, 80s, 90s. They can tell me their birth story like it happened an hour ago without missing one detail. And
Yeah.
what they remember is how they were made to feel.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. And so that impacts them as a parent for the rest of their parenting journey, how confident they are in their experience and the bonding with them and their child. It just impacts so much in our communities. And so we kind of miss the mark on that in the mainstream medical field. And so I really wanted to take a piece of that and share and educate and advocate for women in our community to have better birth experiences and outcomes.
Yeah, so beautiful. And I don't know if you know this, but both of my kids were delivered. Both my sons were delivered with a midwife. I was in a hospital setting.
Yeah.
It wasn't so popular to do home birth. Now, if I was having babies today, I would totally have a home birth for sure. But I did have a certified nurse midwife for both of my deliveries, and they were beautiful.
That's awesome. And I think that's the perfect kind of bridge. Midwifery care, even in a hospital setting, is still a completely different experience. Usually your midwives are more present with you than the doctor can be throughout the process. There's less interventions with a midwife, even in a hospital setting. So some women really prefer the safety of the hospital, but then also having a midwife and a doula to bridge the gap in care.
I love that.
I had my daughter at that birthing center.
Oh, the same one. Okay.
Yeah. And I was able to labor in the tub. The tub is one of my favorite places to be. Like, now I'm a bath girl for sure. I put my Epsom salt and my candles and relax. And so for me, being able to labor in the water, that was like my epidural. Like that did it for me. I wanted to do a water birth, but I ended up having to get out because my daughter was 9 pounds and 1 ounce. So yeah, there was just we needed a little more space.
It's a big baby. my first one was 8'13", so not quite 9, but right there.
Yeah. So I had to get out, but I was able to do most of my labor in the tub. I was able to eat, drink.
Yeah.
I had several family members in the room. I had a birth photographer. I didn't have any limitations or restrictions. And I think that's just such a beautiful way to have a baby. And when I had that experience, I thought, if I could do this, I can help other women do this.
Yeah. And I love that. And I love that you fully embraced it and decided to launch your own business. And so I'm curious, because what the listeners don't know is that you are a current student in the Process Practitioner Program, which is the Functional Medicine and Business Development Program. And so I'm curious, giving your broad experience, how has the Process Practitioner Program, or what you've been learning in the Process Practitioner Program, factored into how you are running your business?
I would say one of the biggest takeaways for the program for me is really knowing my value as a nurse, as an entrepreneur, the quality of the services that I offer, and the outcomes that I help provide. And so because I was just so passionate about this work, I really think I was operating off of passion before.
Oh my God, Amber.
Going above and beyond, overextending myself, being at every beck and call, just so passionate about the work. And there's nothing wrong with that, but I lacked boundaries and I ended up getting myself into burnout.
Yes. And
And so,
yeah, no, I'm sorry. Just to interject really quickly, um, so often we associate burnout with, being at the bedside or whatnot. But to your point, it is very easy for entrepreneurs also to experience burnout when there aren't any boundaries, or when those
mhm,
boundaries, either they don't exist or they're not enforced, right? And these are
mhm,
self-imposed boundaries, right? When we don't protect ourselves from ourselves. Because you're absolutely right, you can be passionate and you want to be passionate about what you
mhm,
do,
mhm.
and at the same time, you want to make sure that you're honoring you and honoring who you are and honoring how you really want to operate a business, not from a place of scarcity or feeling obligated or that, but really operating from a place that serves them, your mommies and the
Mhm.
babies, right?
Yeah.
But then also honors and respects like your time, your effort, your expertise, your values, like you mentioned. So yeah.
Yes, that's been really, really important. And it's really been life changing for me. Just to recognize that, because like you said, it's easy to get burnt out working for someone else or maybe doing something you don't love, but to be I'm doing what I love.
Right.
I mean, love, very passionate about it. And so the burnout kind of snuck up on me. I was like,
Mhm.
what is happening? Why do
Yeah.
I feel like this? I started getting irritable, just fatigued, losing
Mhm.
things, forgetting things,
Yeah.
just not okay. And so it was a mental and emotional impact on my health, as well as
Mhm.
a physical
Yeah.
impact on my health. And it caught me by surprise. I was like, what? I'm doing what I love. Why is this
Yeah.
happening? But again, just not having the boundaries, as far as the time commitment on things and
Mhm.
financial commitment, the type of
Yeah.
clients that I accept into my care,
Yeah.
and their commitment. Sometimes
Right.
I'm more committed to what's going on than the client is.
Yeah.
And so sometimes setting a boundary on that, and the type of clients I work with, how committed they are and what they're willing, to sacrifice and add in to the experience. It can't be all me.
No.
So that's something that I've learned through the program, and it has really changed how I interact with clients, and
Mhm.
it's changed some of my processes with
Yeah.
identifying clients that best fit
Your best fit
what I
clients.
do, and
Mhm.
fit my program and
Yeah.
all those things. So that has definitely helped and has kept me in a healthier state of mind and being.
Yeah, I love that. And if I can just throw this out there, just from when you first entered the program till now, you have like a new, what I see, a new like zeal and excitement, like a renewed passion and excitement for your business. That's what I can say. I've
Mhm.
personally witnessed. Yeah.
Absolutely. And I felt like when I joined the program, I felt like something was missing and I wasn't quite sure
Yeah.
what that was. And then I was also working on myself, working
Right.
on my own health.
Mhm.
So with burnout and everything that was going on as a doula, being on call, you could leave at 3 a.m. and not come back
Mhm.
for another 24, 36 hours, and so over time, this has really wreaked havoc on my health. And
Yeah.
so I found out that even I had some health issues. I found out that I had um, low thyroid function, stress induced low thyroid
Mhm.
function, a little bit of a goiter on my thyroid. I also found out that I had endometriosis. And so these
Mhm.
are some things that are a result of inflammation and
Right.
stress and hormones being out of balance. And so as I started to work on myself and my diet and my lifestyle, because my self-care was
Mhm.
lacking because I was so busy caring for everyone
Somebody
else.
else. Oh my gosh.
So
Yes.
this brought a little bit more harmony and balance to my life, where I can make space to really care for Amber as
Yes.
I'm caring for my clients. And the more I learn to care for myself, the more I can really give to my clients.
Can you say that again, Amber?
The more I can care for myself, the more I can give to my clients, and not working from a space of deficit and fatigue.
Yes,
And
absolutely.
I'm going in telling my client, hey, you need to get more sleep. You need to eat good. You need to do this. And here I am about to pass out while I'm trying to do. So just taking care of myself. And so I really got into transitioning and pivoting fully into more of a holistic wellness role. One, by trying to solve my own health problems naturally. I started off with a few doctors, medical doctors, of course, that wanted to either prescribe medication, do surgery. And those are things I just wasn't quite interested in. And so I then found some more holistic functional medicine doctors who were able to help me really identify the things that were out of balance and make suggestions specifically for getting those things in balance. So particularly, again, my thyroid and the endometriosis. And so those are my own struggles with, which for some women, those can be reasons why they struggle with infertility.
Yes, for sure.
I wasn't focused on fertility for myself because I'm not trying to get pregnant, but I did wanted to heal the inflammation in my body. And of course, not have to deal with other, side effects and things of that nature. So while trying to heal myself, I also found ways that I can help my clients who were struggling with infertility. So that's number one, me working on my own health. And then number two, as a lactation consultant and doula, I kind of went down a rabbit hole where I noticed that my clients who had low milk production, if I looked back on their intake form, I could also see that infertility was listed on their form. Either they had IVF, they had history of multiple miscarriages, they had history of irregular periods. There's just, I could kind of trace it back. And I ended up taking a low milk production or low milk supply specialist certification, where I discovered that the hormonal imbalances during the lactation and pregnancy process also contributed to low supply infertility. So I just kind of traced it all back. And what happened was, as a lactation consultant with that specialty, I was then able to look at labs, which is normally not in a lactation consultant scope of practice. But as an RN, IBCLC, you can evaluate the labs and work with a doctor or midwife to help you diagnose. The doctor or midwife can diagnose and actually treat. So with me being connected to birthing centers and midwives, I would ask them, hey, can you look at these labs, the DHEA, the iron, the prolactin, some of these hormonal labs that their main doctor was not looking at and even refused to look at. The midwives would order those labs for me, and I would look at them, and we'd look at them together and see that they were out of balance. And so from there, we were able to recommend some supplements, some diet changes, exercise, different things to help get these hormones back in balance. And with doing that, we noticed that milk production increased. From there, in the long term, later, those same women who got pregnant via IVF will call back maybe a year or two later and say, hey, I just got pregnant naturally. And I think it's from those supplements and all those changes that we made when we were working on my milk production. So that's when I realized that there was a connection. There, that if I could help women increase their milk supply, I could also help them with fertility.
Yeah, I love that. And I love that now that you're in the process practitioner program, one, you can order your own labs. Two, you know how to read them, interpret them, right? Or you're in the process of learning how to interpret them. And then, which allows you to create a better treatment plan, if you will, for your clients, right?
Absolutely. And that's another great thing that the program has done for me. I'm more independent now when it
Yeah.
comes to ordering labs, interpreting labs, and making suggestions and developing programs, some short term, but mostly long term programs to help women get their hormones in balance, reduce inflammation, reduce fatigue, and have a healthier garden for their babies to grow.
Oh, I love that. Their garden. I love that. I love that. And I know that recently we just celebrated a win for you. You've had lots of wins since you've been in the program, but one particular win that's coming to mind is you just enrolled someone into your root cause blood work analysis, right?
Yes, I did. And so we're now offering root cause blood work analysis, particularly for women who are struggling with fertility and wanting to get pregnant. So I do have actually a few new clients who are trying to get pregnant and are just fed up with not getting anywhere, not getting the support that they need from their doctors. And so I was able to enroll 3 new clients into the root cause blood work analysis, where I'm able to really do a deep dive into their lab work and not just focus on getting pregnant, but everything that could be going on with them, their blood sugar levels,
literally holistic health.
Yeah, holistic health, things that can really affect, their overall bodily function. And so getting all those things in balance can naturally help. If we have a healthy garden, like I said, then naturally we'd be able to get pregnant.
That's right. I love that. And I remember it was not too long ago. I feel like everything was yesterday, but a couple of weeks ago, we were actually on our process practitioner program call, on a Thursday night call, and you were texting your client, and you were like, well, how much should I charge? And we were like, we should charge this amount, or how does this feel? How does this amount feel for you? And you were like, oh, I don't know. But then you were like, I think I can charge this amount. And then you texted the young lady, and then you were like, she just paid. Like literally, you got the notification that you got a paid client right then and there on the call, which is really exciting.
Yes. And that's another thing the program has done for me, just boosted the confidence and provided reassurance that there are clients that will pay what I'm worth and will want the quality of services that I can provide. So very, very reassuring and boosting my confidence there.
Absolutely. I love that. And you just recently completed Transcendence, which is the 12-week mindset program, or it is a mindset, but it's also a identity evolution program that's part of the process practitioner program. So I would love for you to share, like, maybe your one biggest takeaway from Transcendence, because mindset, we know that mindset plays a huge part in how we show up in our business, what we are willing, the word tolerate always comes up. What is acceptable? And what's acceptable now, right? Maybe something that we have been tolerating, but we're like, no, that's not who I am now. So, and of course, it plays a huge part in how we choose to even price our services. So I'm just curious to hear from you in your own words. What was maybe your biggest takeaway from Transcendence?
Yeah, like you just said, that's not who I am now. I think we all have a vision of who we want to be, the woman that we want to be, the person that we want to be in our future. We're all kind of striving towards that. We have our current self and our current life, and then we have a goal that we're working towards, whether it's becoming a certain version of yourself or more success in your business, whatever it may be. And so what I've learned in the program is really functioning more in the version of the person I want to become and becoming her on a daily basis. And so just encouraging myself from that standpoint instead of operating in a deficit, or in a scarcity mentality, more operating in abundance. And so ultimately, I think it boils down to self-love. And when I make decisions, thinking about, is this an act of self-love? Am I taking care of myself?
I love that.
When I make this decision, is this decision going to pour into me? Is accepting this client going to help me demonstrate self-love, or is it going to put me in anxiety and burnout and all those
huge
things?
Listen, that
so
is a
really
very important
just
question.
Evaluating my decisions, my interactions, my encounters in my personal life and in my business, with that lens.
I love that. I love that. And it's been so beautiful to just witness your growth and your evolution during that 12 weeks, during the past 12 weeks. It's been beautiful. And you really stepping into that next level version of yourself. So I'm so super proud of you. And like I said, it's just been beautiful to witness the process.
Thank you. I appreciate that. It's been beautiful being a part of the process.
Yeah. The process of becoming your next level version. So I love that. And we all have a next level version. And here's the thing, we never like tap out or max out. We are always evolving. We are always evolving. But one thing that I heard you say, which is so powerful, so I just want to kind of underscore this, is now operating from a place where you're making decisions from your higher self, making decisions from that next level version of you, not from the current level version. Because what we know is when we continue to make decisions, whether they're life decisions or business decisions, based on our current identity, right, based on where we currently are, we get more of the same. We get more of what we're getting. And if that's not part of your vision, then we know we have to evolve. Well, we get to evolve. I don't want to say have to, because we don't have to do anything, but we get to evolve into the woman, the business owner, the entrepreneur, the mother, the wife, who makes decisions from her higher self, her next level self. So beautiful, Amber.
Absolutely.
So beautiful.
It's been an incredible journey. I've learned a lot more about myself. I love to learn in general. Love to learn. I'm a forever student. So, but to be a student of self,
yes,
different experience. So that's been very rewarding. The changes are evident, in my household, they're evident with clients. And so it's also been great to even watch myself grow and blossom into the woman that I want to become.
Yeah, that you are becoming.
Yes, that I am becoming.
That's right. That's right. That's right. So much wisdom, Amber, so much wisdom that you've shared today. If there's one thing that you would love to leave everyone with, one thought or one thought that you would love to leave everyone with, whether it's related to fibroid awareness, whether it's related to infertility, lactation, whether it's related to pivoting from nursing to entrepreneurship, or anywhere in between, honoring self and creating boundaries, like what's the one thing that you would love for our listeners to leave with?
Yeah. So, as women, we do a lot. We have a lot of responsibilities. We carry a lot. Yes. The older I get and the more responsibilities I get as a nurse, as a wife, as a mom, I just realized that there's just a lot of weight on our shoulders. And so with that, I think we can get lost in that. We can get lost in taking care of other people and things and making sure everything's running. So just to wrap it up, really based on everything that we said today, what I would leave with is to take care of you.
Yes.
First. So that whole concept of, put your oxygen mask on first on the airplane, really take care of yourself as it relates to fibroids, as it relates to fertility. That even alone boils down to self-care and self-love, mentally, physically, spiritually, emotionally. You want to make sure every aspect of your being that you are pouring into it, and that any and everything you do in life, relationships, career, the car you drive, the house, everything is a reflection of that.
So beautiful. So much wisdom in that. And so thank you for sharing that. And thank you for sharing your time with us and your expertise and all that you've shared, all the light that you've shed on the different areas that we've discussed today. So thank you so much for that.
You're welcome. And thanks for allowing me to share. It's been a pleasure.
Yes, you're welcome. And so now, are you ready for some rapid fire? Just some fun questions.
Okay, I guess.
Y'all, I gotta tell you, Amber was like, I don't want to do that. I'm like, oh, it's gonna be fun. That's always my answer. It's gonna be fun, which it is. Okay, so here we go. We'll start off with something super simple, Amber, nothing major. Who was your childhood celebrity crush?
So I'd have to say Will Smith. I remember at the age of 9, that's when the movie Bad Boys came out.
Oh my gosh.
The
Yeah,
first
yeah.
one.
The first one. I've
And
seen all of them.
Will was running in slow motion with his shirt off. And at 9 years old, I was like, "Ooh, that's my husband. That's my man."
That is so
And I also
funny.
grew up watching the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air.
Yeah.
And he had such a great sense of humor, and so that was my childhood crush.
So Will Smith. That's cool. I love it. I love it. I love it. Okay, next question. What's the biggest risk you've ever taken?
Being a nurse entrepreneur.
True, right?
Yeah. There's been several times and several layers, but each time I decide to grow my business, I have to leave something else. And so recently in 2024, I was working a contracted nursing position for like home nursing, still dealing with women's reproductive care. But in order to grow my business more and take on more Mother Eve's clients, I had to leave that position. And so I had to take a leap of faith and just trust that the income would come, that the clients would come. And so far I haven't even felt it.
Lovely.
I did that again in 2016 when I was working as a lactation consultant in a hospital setting. And I left the hospital to open up my lactation private practice.
I love it.
So just leap of faith there with leaving, guaranteed income and hoping for business income.
And look what you've created and will continue to create, So I love that. I love that. And here's the thing. It's going back to that evolving, right? We're always evolving. And as we are evolving, of course, our business is going to evolve. It's going to look different because we're different. Our desires change and what we're wanting to create changes. Our vision changes even, or it evolves. I won't say changes, altogether, but it evolves. It evolves. So kudos to you for continuing to follow your dreams and follow that vision and physically create the vision, because we all have a vision, but not everyone will choose to physically create what's in their vision. So kudos to you for that.
Thank you. And I will say Prosperous Practitioner and Transcendence have really helped me to stick to that change and confirm that this is what I'm supposed to be doing and to learn new levels of reaching those goals and new levels of evolving.
I love that. Well, thank you for sharing that. I'm so glad that it's beautiful to just be on the journey with you and to help you or to support you. I really don't like to use the word help, right? But to really support you and empower you on your journey. So it's been spectacular, for lack of a better word.
Likewise. Thank you.
You're welcome. And thank you. And so, okay, here's another one. What's the best compliment you've ever gotten?
I always get complimented on my skin and my smile.
Yes. Your skin, you do have beautiful skin and you have a beautiful smile. So I can totally see that. I can totally see that.
All right. I've been pretty consistent. So
okay, awesome. Awesome. What's one thing, because you're so incredible at so many things, as evidenced by this entire conversation and the success of your business. But you're welcome. I was gonna say, what's one thing you wish you were better at? Because we can't all be good at everything.
Social media.
Okay. And here's the thing. We haven't gotten to that part yet in the Process Practitioner Program. That is a piece of the Process Practitioner Program training. So hang tight. You'll get there. You'll get better. That's for sure.
I think more so learning it, but I don't know. I like doing a podcast because it's one-on-one, it's intimate, but something about just like doing Instagram reels and like being, on video, just I need to get more comfortable with doing that.
Well, I got you on that.
So that I won't be the best kept secret.
No, because we will not be having that. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. So I totally got you on that. So no worries there. So there's definitely something that we'll work on together. All right. So last question. If you were stranded on a deserted island and you could only have one thing, what would that one thing be?
Is food an option?
I mean, hey, listen, absolutely. We got to
have food. I should probably say water, but food.
Right. You should probably say water. But here's the thing. If you're on an island, you're surrounded by water. So
right. That's true. So
maybe it is.
I need food.
Any particular food? Like what is like a must have? Like if you could only have one thing, what would you want?
Bread. Any kind of bread.
Well, that'll keep you full. Food, bread, and water. Hey,
I know the Bible says you can't live off of bread alone, but
you're gonna try.
I feel like I can live off of bread alone.
Oh my gosh, I am definitely a bread lover as well. I'm a bread lover as well, so I can totally relate to that. But for me, I think like if we're going with food, I would have to have fruit. Like I love fruit, and you and I both share that.
Yeah, watermelon is my favorite.
Yes. So that's probably one for me. So, oh my God, this has been so fun. Thank you for giving us an inside look into just who Amber is as a person, as the phenomenal woman that you are.
Thank you so much.
You are welcome. And thank you to all of you that are listening. As always, I love you. I appreciate you. And I will see you next time on the Charyse Williams Show. Bye for now.